Today we're going to show you how to install the XBAR-24 soundbar on your UTV. Let's get to it. Step 1. The first thing we're going to want to do is lay out everything that comes with our soundbar so we have a good idea of all the pieces that we will be using. After that, we're going to prepare our soundbar for mounting. To do that, we're going to take the clamp bases, which is this piece over here, then take one of our two smaller Allen screws and use it to attach the clamp base to the soundbar. Take the included Allen key and screw it into place like so. Then do the same thing with the other clamp base on the other side of the soundbar like this. Step 2. Now that we have our clamp bases on our soundbar, we can pick the place on our UTV where we want to have the soundbar installed. Now, since the XBAR-24 has a built-in Bluetooth receiver as well as control buttons on its face, we decided to install our soundbar on the roll bar in front of the driver and passenger seat for optimal control. But you can also install it on the roll bars behind the passenger and driver's seat. So now we're going to take our 4 clamp rings that look like this and take 4 rubber strips to insert inside of each clamp ring. Now, depending on how thick your roll bars are, you can add more rubber strips under the clamp rings for a tighter fit. But once you find that combination that works, you're going to put the clamp rings and rubber strips over the roll bar like this, and then have 2 on one side and the other 2 on the other side. Now take your soundbar and you're going to line up the holes on the clamp bases with the clamp rings and run a long Allen screw with a washer on it through both the clamp ring and the clamp base like so. Then you're going to take another long Allen screw and washer and run it through the clamp ring and clamp base on the other side to hold the soundbar up. Now take a nut and place it on the other side of the Allen screw and again use your Allen key or Allen driver to screw everything in place. You can hold the nut on the back in place with your hand while you tighten the Allen screw to get the screw to catch, but then we recommend using a wrench or pliers to hold the nut firm so you can really get the bolt securely tightened. Once you have those 2 screws on either side securely in place, take 2 more Allen screws and washers and run them through the remaining clamp rings and clamp bases. Then take 2 more nuts and screw everything into place. And with that, you have your soundbar securely mounted to your UTV, so it's time to take a look at wiring. Step 3. The wiring for the soundbar is pretty straightforward. We have our red power and black ground wires here. The power wire also features a fuse on it. We are going to run both our power and ground wires directly to the positive and negative terminals on our battery. Now before we do that, we're going to strip some of the wire back on our power and ground wire, and then crimp on some O-rings to make attaching to the battery terminals easier and more secure. Now before we run the wires to the battery, the most important thing to figure out is, do we have a clear path for the wires to run through, and is there a way to secure them in place so that once they are connected, nothing is loose? In this case, our battery was under our seat, so we made sure we had a clear path all the way from the soundbar along the roll bar down to the seat. And we decided to use the included zip ties to keep everything nice and secure. Now once you have that clear path for the wiring to run through, you can connect the power wire to your positive terminal on your battery like this, and then go ahead and connect the ground wire to the negative terminal on your battery like this. Now since there's no remote line, just keep in mind that you can play music through your soundbar while your UTV is off, but always remember to turn off your soundbar when you are not using it. And if you are planning to store your UTV or not use it for a couple of weeks, we recommend taking out the fuse on the power wire here, so that the soundbar doesn't drain the UTV battery. Now another option is to wire the power wire to the ignition in your UTV, which will give you the ability to turn the soundbar on and off when you turn your UTV on and off with your key. But for this setup, we chose to wire directly to our battery. That's it! Now your soundbar is installed and powered with the battery from your UTV. Now on the XBAR-24, there is an aux input, so you can run an aux cable into the XBAR-24 and play music that way, as well as RCA outputs so that you can connect the soundbar to a head unit or amplifier for a bigger setup. So if you do have an amp powering other speakers in your UTV and you wanted to connect it to your soundbar, you would just take a pair of RCA cables and connect them into these RCA outputs. But hopefully this video showed you how easy it is to set up your XBAR-24 in your UTV. But if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, feel free to reach out to our customer support tech team through phone or email. We'll see you guys in the next one.